Social media keeps telling women over 40 to try harder, look younger, look richer, and look smaller. Jane Birkin built iconic style by doing the opposite. Today, I'm sharing 15 style secrets to look more effortless, more powerful, and more yourself after 40. Build a signature before you build variety. Because this is one of the biggest mistakes social media and the fashion industry makes. It keeps telling women that style means constantly reinventing yourself, like you need a new aesthetic, a new silhouette, a new version of who you are every few months or even weeks nowadays. And all that really does is keep you shopping without ever feeling settled in your own look. Jane Birkin did something much smarter. She kept coming back to the same core things: the bangs, the shirts, the denim, the basket, of course, or later the Birkin bag, and that easy, slightly masculine line. And over time, that really became her signature. And that's why her style still feels so clear today. You recognize it because it was consistent and because it actually belonged to her. And that to me is where style gets better after 40. Because it's not that we need more options, but it becomes better when we know ourselves better. When you start noticing the pieces you always come back to because they genuinely work for you, like the jeans that make you so comfortable, make you feel so good in your body that you just know that's yours. Or the shoes that somehow have the magic to make your posture better because they are so comfortable and just, I don't know, lift you up. And once you see that, getting dressed gets so much easier because now you're not building a wardrobe out of random purchases. You're building around evidence, around the things that already make sense on you. Secret number 2: choose ease over polish. Now, here's the thing about polish. Women over 40 get pushed toward this very anxious version of polish. Hair needs to be more done. Makeup needs to be more done. The outfit needs to be more done. Everything suddenly needs to be more managed, as if age needs to be corrected by visible effort. But too much polish often reads like tension. And Jane Birkin's gift was ease. It was not messy or carelessness, just ease. Even when she was wearing classic pieces, nothing looked overworked on her. She looked like a woman living in her clothes, not posing inside them. And that matters because the outfit should never feel more controlled than the woman wearing it. And while they are telling us to fix every detail, here's what actually works: leave some room in the look. Hi, I'm Bridget Fisher, and I help women over 40 prove something radical. Aging is your style advantage, not your obstacle, and I do this with German honesty. Welcome to the Aura Club. Secret number 3: stop dressing for thinness. Let's talk about one of the worst messages women absorb as they get older. Everything starts getting filtered through the same tired question: does this make me look smaller? And once that becomes the goal, style gets fearful very quickly. You start dressing to reduce yourself instead of dressing to express yourself. Jane Birkin's style was never about that. She wasn't trying to shrink the body or make it disappear. What she understood was line: a good shirt, a denim that held its shape, a belt, a shoulder, an open neck. The eye could follow the outfit easily, and that's a big part of why it felt so effortless. It had clarity, and that to me is one of the biggest shifts for women over 40. Stop dressing for thinness and start dressing for line. Jane Birkin might be thin in some of these images here, but she didn't dress for it. She'd wear the oversized shirt without being anxious about whether it added a few kilos or not. Instead, The way she dressed created presence, and presence is always more powerful than looking a little bit smaller in the mirror. So let's forget what they told us. The answer is almost never less body, it's a stronger line. Secret number 4, borrow from menswear but keep your point of view. Now, here's one of the things Jane Birkin understood so well. She could borrow from menswear without losing herself in it. That's what made it work. It never looked heavy or costumey or like she was trying to prove a point. It just gave her a kind of calm. And I think women over 40 really need to hear that, because we get pushed toward this idea that femininity has to mean more effort, more polish, more fuss, and more trying. But sometimes what actually makes a woman look stronger is a little structure, a little restraint, a little ease borrowed from the boys. A men's shirt can open everything up, and a straighter trouser can make the whole outfit feel more grounded. And before we continue, I've created an ebook collection that includes Style After 40, the Core Style System, and a few others. And I'm running a sale on Style After 40 right now, because if you only ever go through one of my ebooks, this is the one I'd start with. It's the most empowering, and it gives you so much more clarity and confidence in your style as you age. And if you get any 2 items from the shop, the wishlist planner will be added for free at checkout automatically, which means you don't need a code or anything. It will just be in there for free. Secret number 5, let one humble piece humanize the outfit. So let's talk about the basket. Because the basket is not just a charming detail, it's the whole point. Jane Birkin became attached to one of the most famous luxury bag names in the world, and still one of the most memorable things about her style was that simple Portuguese basket. She even talked about refusing the idea that she should leave it behind just to look more proper. And that tells you everything. The power was never in looking expensive, it was in looking real. A basket, a worn belt, it could be an old watch, it could be a vintage chain, a scarf that looks like it's lived a little, or a loafer that looks like you've actually gone somewhere in it. That's often the thing that turns a look from technically fine into something with actual life in it. And in Aura Club language, that would be the vintage fix. One piece with soul, one piece that breaks the overly polished feeling, and it's the one piece that makes the whole outfit feel like it belongs to a woman instead of an algorithm. Secret number 6, refuse overstyling. Now let's talk about where a lot of women lose the magic. They find the right pieces and then they overwork them. Hair is too done, jewelry is too considered, everything is too fixed, too coordinated, and too aware of itself. And suddenly, the outfit loses its life somehow. Jane Birkin understood that at least one slightly undone thing can make the whole look feel better. And she had, well, the fringe or the hair a little soft, the shirt not too perfect, the whole outfit just open enough to feel lived in. And that's a big part of why she still feels modern. Not because everything was current, but because nothing looked nervous. This is especially useful after 40 because age anxiety often shows up as too much effort. Women start trying to prove they still know how to do style, how to look polished, how to get it right. But style gets better when you stop trying to prove yourself. They try to convince us that more effort means more elegance, but we know better. Leave one thing softer, or leave all things softer even if you want to. Secret number 7, wear classics, not costume classics. So now let's talk about classics, because a lot of women over 40 have been handed this very flat idea of what a classic wardrobe is supposed to be. Like it's supposed to be quiet, safe, sensible, as if getting older means becoming less visible and less specific. But that's not what made Jane Birkin interesting. Yes, she wore classic pieces like white shirts, denim, men's blazers, Breton stripes, soft knits, but they never felt dull. They still had energy. They still felt personal and looked like they belonged to her. And that's the difference that matters. Classics are not there to tone a woman down. They are there to make her more visible and more herself. So if you're effortlessly timeless, your classics probably want cleaner detail, quieter color, and very little noise. And if you're a relaxed modern, they can take a bit more softness or a slightly more current cut. But either way, the test is the same. They should feel alive on you, not dutiful, not like you bought them because someone decided women over 40 need to disappear into good taste. Secret number 8, use proportion as power, not punishment. So this is something I really want to say clearly for petite and mid-sized women. You do not need Jane Birkin's frame to use Jane Birkin's logic. You need proportion, and that's what matters. The bad advice is always the same. If you're petite, avoid volume, and if you're curvy, hide it. And if you're mid-sized, just wear whatever looks slimming. It's lazy advice, really, and it comes from the same narrow thinking that has left so many women out of the style conversation altogether. What actually matters is how an outfit is working as a whole, where the volume begins and where it ends, and what gives it shape, what keeps it clear. Birkin could wear fuller trousers because something else was keeping the look grounded, like a cleaner shoulder or a simpler top line, a visible neckline, a bit of definition somewhere. And that made the outfit have clarity. And while they are telling us certain bodies need to stay in a narrow lane, here's what actually works. It's all about the proportions. It's not that, oh, you are an apple shape, you're not allowed to wear this and that. I don't believe in this at all. So if you're petite, you can absolutely wear wider legs and looser shirts. You just want a few clear decisions in the outfit. Secret number 9, let your face lead. So let's talk about what the outfit is actually there to do. It should frame you, not compete with you. And Jane Birkin understood that so well. Even when the outfit was memorable, your eyes still went to her face first. Like the bangs, the softness, the expression, the woman herself. And the clothes were supporting presence, not trying to replace it. And this matters even more after 40 because so many women start dressing from the neck down. Like there's more coverage, more camouflage, more strategy. But if nothing in the outfit is doing anything for your face, it can still feel very flat no matter how flattering it is. So start where people actually meet you. The neckline, the collar, the shape of the hair, the scale of the earrings. Birkin's style often worked because there was space around her face. The clothes didn't crowd her out. And one more thing I wanted to share with you. If you want my basic power system for free, completely for free, I have it linked in the description. You just sign up with your email address and your first name, and then it will be automatically sent to your inbox. And it's a simple way to start making smarter and more confident purchase decisions. Secret number 10, color matters. Now here's the thing about color. The fashion industry treats it like a performance. Like there's always a new color, always louder, always new color combinations. And you always need to prove you're current by wearing the newest one and knowing about it. But this is exactly where the two-question style test matters, because not every woman is meant to express herself the same way. I adore Iris Apfel and her use of color, but that belongs to a very different territory from mine, for example. I'm an effortlessly timeless, and it's brilliant on her, but it's just not what works for me. And it wouldn't have worked for Jane Birkin either, I think. Jane Birkin's palette was much quieter, like denim blue, white, black, cream, camel, straw, tobacco, maybe one small accent, and that's part of why her style felt so clear. Quiet color is not about being boring, it's about knowing what supports your presence. So if your territory is more effortlessly timeless, quieter color often gives you more authority and less visual noise. And if your territory is more expressive, color may absolutely be part of your power. The point is not to copy someone else's color palette or chase whatever is the new trend color that the fashion industry pushes right now. It's to know your own. And after 40, style gets better because the noise just disappears. And what counts is that you can depend on your own inner voice. Secret number 11, repeat what works without embarrassment. So let's talk about repetition, because style gets much easier when you stop acting like consistency is something to apologize for. Social media has made women oddly embarrassed by the very things that usually make their style stronger, like wearing the same things too often and somehow you're predictable. Buy the same shirt in 3 colors and suddenly that means you're not creative. But that's actual nonsense. It usually just means you know what works for you. Jane Birkin's style lasted because she kept returning to the same things: the shirts, the trousers, the basket, the bangs. And that repetition is exactly what made her style feel so clear. And after 40, repetition is a luxury. It saves time, it cuts down the noise, it protects your wallet, and it gives you much more confidence in your own taste. And this is also where basic power becomes really practical, because a piece should belong to your territory and actually earn its place in your wardrobe. So it has to have good material, real comfort, enough versatility to live in your real life. When something truly works, you can repeat it without embarrassment, because that is not a lack of imagination, it's style autonomy. Secret number 12, spend on feel, not flex. So let's talk about luxury. Jane Birkin became attached forever to one of the most famous luxury bags in the world, and still the most interesting thing about that story is that it started with practicality. She wanted a bag that worked better for real life. Bigger than a Kelly, smaller than a suitcase, useful enough to carry what she actually needed. And that tells you everything. Real style starts with usefulness. So if you're going to spend money after 40, spend it where you can actually feel the difference, like better cotton, better wool, better leather, better shoes, like things that feel good when you wear them, is things that hold up in real life. So we don't need louder logos or brand noise, and we don't need pieces that only work if someone else notices them. That is very much the Aura Club standard. We need premium materials, invisible branding, real-world wearability, and presence over trends. Secret number 13, age into more self-definition, not less. Let's talk about age directly, because social media has a very specific fantasy for women over 40. Be a little quieter, a little safer, a little less visible, because you need to stay polished and you need to be acceptable and don't take up too much space. It's the same old age invisibility culture, just dressed up to look modern. Jane Birkin had a much wiser view of it. She said the important things in a woman's life happen at 40, not 20 or 30, and that age made her more self-confident and more self-determined. She talked about moving past being pretty and cute and finally being taken more seriously. And that is exactly the shift I want for women too. After 40, don't water your style down. Your style shouldn't get smaller or safer, it should get clearer. You keep what feels true, let go of what doesn't, and stop wasting energy on trends that were never built for your life in the first place. Secret number 14, dress for your actual life. Most style content online is not really trying to dress women for real life. It's trying to dress them for that split second of approval. Jane Birkin still feels relevant because her clothes looked livable. She wore shirts, trousers, shoes and bangs that seemed connected to an actual day. And even when there was glamour, it never felt disconnected from real life. That's a big part of why she still feels so relevant. A wardrobe after 40 should support your life, not interrupt it. That's also why I care so much about the basic power questions, because they bring you back to what actually matters: the good materials, practical upkeep, comfort, versatility, and pieces that make sense across the life you really live. And that's not boring, it's intelligent. It's the difference between collecting pieces and building a power wardrobe. Secret number 15, the goal is to become unmistakably you. Jane Birkin is not someone to copy exactly. She's proof of what happens when a woman stays close to herself. What actually makes a woman memorable is the feeling that she knows herself, that her choices make sense together, and that nothing about the look is trying too hard. We just don't need that. We don't need to prove ourselves. So the real Jane Birkin approach after 40 is not imitation, it's self-possession. And from there, your own territory can take shape however it needs to. And if you want to understand why the fashion industry keeps pushing more, and what actually looks chic instead, I'm sharing 17 things I find very chic in this video here. And always remember, confidence looks good on you.